Hi, this is Terry Campbell with Johnson Insurance coming to you with our next installment of Outside the Box. In the last video, I had covered some of the reasons that premiums have gone up so much in the last couple of years. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how you may be able to lower those premiums or at least keep them in check and keep them from going up. One of the first things that people always talk about when you're wanting to save on premiums is to have a higher deductible. Maybe instead of $1,000 or $2,000, maybe bump it up to $5,000. Some of the folks who have the ability to do that go much larger than that. I've seen $25,000 deductibles before. That fits a certain type of customer. But something to consider. Look at your deductibles. If you raise them, you may be able to save on your premium. Another big way to save on premiums or to keep that in check is don't have claims. Let's explain. Like with a car, let's say you get into a small fender bender or something like that. You may just decide to pay it out of your pocket instead of turning it as on a claim, which is going to in turn increase your premiums. So let's say you've got a little bit of damage. Somebody backs into a gutter or a downspout, or you've got a little cosmetic damage on your buildings. That's something to consider paying out of your pocket instead of turning in on a claim if it's nothing major. So risk management is another way to reduce your claims if you're doing your maintenance, which you should be doing anyway. But if you're doing all your proper maintenance, making sure that you don't have any potholes or issues in sidewalks or things like that, or maybe if you're in an area that gets snow and ice, you make sure you keep those areas cleaned off where people will be going in and out. You don't want them slipping and falling. That's usually the biggest issue with a claim, is a slip and fall. So if you've got ice, be sure and put salt down, melt the ice, scrape the snow, things of that nature. Make sure that if you've got roof leaks, that you fix those too. Those are issues that could be an issue causing claims. So take care of that. So maintenance overall is a great thing to do to keep your premiums from going up. Tenant protection or tenant insurance. What you're doing is you're basically putting another level of protection between yourself and the customer. The insurance carriers look at that quite often as an advantage, that they're going to be having less exposure to a claim, so you may be able to get a reduced premium or at least keep it level. Working with an independent insurance agency is very important and a great way to keep premiums down, because independent agencies have access to many carriers out there that have coverages that are specific to the self-storage industry. So by working with an independent agency, they can shop around, they can find the best price for you, they can advocate for you. So it's very important to work with an agency like that so you're getting a review on more than one quote. And it's something you should do every so often. You shouldn't just renew the same quote every year after year after year, because there are carriers that are coming into the market, going out of the market. Sometimes the ones coming in are more aggressive on pricing because they want to get a foothold in the industry. So work with your agency and get multiple quotes, and at least initially, and then at least every couple of years, review it. What's your appetite for risk? That's one of the questions you ask when you're talking about raising the deductible, but also if you want to self-insure to a point. I know of a customer right now that they do not want to have insurance. They don't want it. They're convinced nothing's going to happen. Plus, they've got a lot of cash flow, so they could cover a lot of issues if they happen. Now, if you want to do that, just do it on your property, because you can fairly well identify what your costs are going to be if you're self-insuring your buildings, your property, the physical part. So you can kind of identify that and know what's coming. Now, don't ever leave yourself open and not have liability insurance, because you never know what the top end is going to cost you in a lawsuit. If there's a liability issue, somebody gets hurt, that could be in the millions. You don't want to be exposed there. So be sure you have at least the liability portion. And when you're younger in the industry, so to speak, when you're newer into the industry and you're building your business up, you may not have much room there to be able to afford anything except the coverage. You may not be able to afford to self-insure yourself. So as you grow your business, as you grow your cash flow and your equity and things like that, that's something you could consider if you have the appetite for that. Some people just don't have the appetite. They're very risk averse and they don't want to do that. Another thing as far as premiums is your location. Obviously, if you're just looking to get into the business and insurance is a concern for you, don't look for a facility along the coast because it's going to cost you more. Don't look for one in areas that are prone to tornadoes or big hailstorms. So that location is definitely an issue, but people need self-storage in these locations as well. So if you're going to do it, just make sure your numbers work and make sure that you have the proper coverage in case there is an event, especially a catastrophic event. Now, making sure that in the roofing and security areas, is it an acquisition? Is it a new build? If it's an acquisition, you may not be able to or want to invest a lot in like new roofing or new security systems. But if you're building something new, consider integrating these into your cost of the build, and you will be able to save some money because you have these things in place. And also, as a caveat, if you do put things like security in place, gates, alarms and things like that, they have to work. If they don't work and you have a claim, you may be stuck with it. Some of the things that carriers will look at is your fencing, your access control, lighting, cameras. Some give discounts if you have smart locks, alarms and sprinklers. Obviously, you're not going to put a sprinkler into an existing facility, but you may have to do it if it's a new build. Again, I don't think you're going to put sprinklers in just to save on your premiums. Now, share your background and your experience. Anything that you can share with that insurance carrier that may give you an advantage, where they look at you and see you as somebody that, hey, these folks are going to run their business right. They're going to do the things that they should. They have a track record of being responsible. It's just like when I was a lender. We try to collect all this information, create a great narrative to take to credit to help get approvals. Same thing with insurance companies, with the carriers. If you've got something you can brag about and your abilities, your background, your track record, it's not going to do anything but help. It's not going to hurt. So also share any kind of improvements that you make during the year. Or that you're planning to make. So if you make some improvements during the year, something that you want to share with those carriers so you can see if you're going to be able to save premium. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for joining.